So something is going on in the butterfly haven, and I'm not sure what, because I can't find my caterpillars. And yes, you saw in the last episode, I sealed down the end so lizards can't get in. And like, there's no lizards in there. I would see them. Because, you know, they're all over the place. They come out, and the ones that have been in there in the past, I have seen. So a lot of the caterpillars that were in there were large, and it's possible they went off and pupated, but I can't find any chrysalides, like anywhere. It's kind of bizarre. So I'm not really sure what's going on. In the meantime, until I figure it out, changes are being made, because I'm not going to lose my caterpillars. So I'm going to make some changes, and I have some ideas, and when I get it figured out, I'm going to come back and show you. Hey y'all, it's Sunday morning, and yesterday I completely reorganized the butterfly haven to keep those caterpillars safe. I've yet to find out what happened to all of my caterpillars. So, you know, maybe in 10 days I'll find some butterflies, and they're just very well hidden because they're good at that. So anyway, I'm going to go show you my new arrangement and setup. And this time it's going to work. Now, this is a dark morph, Eastern Tiger Swallowtail. You can see it does have the tiger's markings, but it's just a dark variety. It's definitely a female because only the females get this dark morph version. And she's been having some fun or doing some surviving. So here's the view from the outside, and you can see I have some of my rust cloud enclosures in there. And those are indoor outdoor enclosures, and I do have them linked in my Amazon links. And I've just got them set up, and I've got the cuttings and the caterpillars zipped inside. And we'll go in and see them. Just showing you on the outside. Now you might be wondering, well, why don't you just keep the enclosures inside? And there's nothing wrong with that. If you're doing that, you do not need to change. You are fine. However, just for me, I have always tried to keep the raising of the caterpillars in an enclosure as natural as an experience as possible, but being able to get them outside so they get the breeze, they get the sunshine, they get the rain, water, I think is going to be an even better situation for them. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we are. I'm sitting on the bench right in front of them. And I'll show you how I put it together. These are 3 milk crates. I have them turned on their sides, and then I have a paver stone in there to hold them down in case it gets really windy. Now, why did I turn them on their sides? Because I thought, well, this one would have been fine because it's got really wide openings. But these two, I thought, well, what if a caterpillar crawls in there and pupates, and then as a butterfly can't get out because the holes are too small? So this is how I set it up. And then I have 3 enclosures, and these are indoor-outdoor enclosures. So in the first one, I have potted milkweed, and one is a swamp milkweed, and the other two, I believe, are tropical, but they're in the enclosure, so it's okay. They're not going to have a chance to be invasive. Now, these are just in the plastic pots, but I set them in a clay pot because the clay pots are heavier. And again, will add weight. So if a strong wind comes along, this enclosure will stay put. And you can see there's a little baby. I think there's only 2 caterpillars in here. There's this one, and then there's a much smaller one. But if I find more, well, they will for sure join in the fun. Oh, here's the baby. Oh, this little caterpillar is in the process of molting. Right now you can see it wiggling and working its way out of its old exoskeleton. It kind of looks like what they look like when they're pupating. And it's going to rub its little face on the stem and get its little face cap off. What good timing we had to get to see this. I'm not going to make you sit and watch the whole thing, but it is quite interesting. We'll come back and see it when it's all fresh. And it'll leave its exoskeleton behind, and then it'll turn around and eat it. But then after it molts, it'll be very still for a long time. And that's when it's kind of in a sensitive place because its new exoskeleton needs to dry. Look, it's almost all the way down. Look how bright the color is too underneath. All fresh and new. Okay, we'll come back, baby. We'll let you molt in peace. And then in the second enclosure, again, I've got a paver in this one because I don't have the heavy clay pots, just to hold everything down. And then these milk crates, let me show you, stand upright very well in here, so you can kind of make a double decker to hold more caterpillars. So this is one of those paper holding office supplies trays, and it's like the perfect width for these floral tubes. So I put on the bottom shelf the paver stone, and then I can put the floral tubes in and around it. And this floral tube is a wild lime, and there's some eggs. I don't know if you can see the egg there. This is the host plant for the giant swallowtail. And this is a water hyacinth. And the super cool thing is there is a baby caterpillar on here of a white peacock. Let me see if I can find where it is. It's very tiny. Oh, I see it. It's right there on the underside of that leaf. The focus keeps going in and out. Can you see it right there? They are the cutest little things. They're little fuzzy black caterpillars. So I'm gonna actually later today go check my other water hyssop. Did I say water hyacinth before? Because it's water hyssop. I hope I said water hyssop because it's water hyssop. Anyway, I'm gonna go look and see if I can find any more of these little guys to bring in. So I'm gonna put him right back in there. And then back here, I think these are my first Eastern Tiger Swallowtails. And I think there's 2 or 3 babies in there. And this wafer ash, I am delighted to find that it does well with cuttings. So I will be good to go for these guys because I've had these cuttings in here for 3 days now and they're looking really good. So I'm thrilled about that. Then up on the second story, look at how perfect the little round hole openings in this milk crate. These, and they fit really snug in there too, so I'm not worried about the wind. You see how snug they are a perfect fit for these floral tubes. You just kind of push them down. And so this is more wild lime. The wild lime downstairs, I have an upstairs and a downstairs. The wild lime downstairs had eggs on it, but this one up here actually has a few caterpillars. There's one. Those are giants. And then, I don't know if you notice right there, do you see that? That little chrysalis right there is a queen. That's that little queen I found on my swallowwort, and she pupated there on my wild lime stem. So a little bit later, I'll remove these limbs so that when she drops and dries her wings, these little leaves won't be here to interfere with that. And I know there's 1 or 2 more giants in here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cuttings of the wild lime. Wild lime does fabulous as cuttings as well. And over here is the spice bush, which also does well with cuttings. And again, you look for the curved leaves, and this one, to turn it around. See how tight they're in there, but that's great. Looky in there. You see it? It's a little green guy. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. I think there's another one in here too somewhere. Yep, right here. There's another one. And then that completes the tour of the 2-story middle enclosure. The final enclosure is also a 2-story, but the first story is just some plants that I'm growing. There's some twine vine and swamp milkweed in there. It's just a good place for it. There's also a big paver stone at the bottom to hold the milk crate. And then on the second floor are some Eastern black swallowtails, and I think that's more eggs or tiny baby. Oh yeah, those are tiny, tiny baby spice bush swallowtails. I didn't want to put them in with the big ones. So if you notice, I have host plants for monarchs growing in here, and there are no monarchs in here. So that way they'll be able to grow. And it's just a nice place to tuck them away. I'll probably end up setting some plants and seedlings down here in the bottom too. And then there are a bunch of cuttings of fennel, and I think it's all fennel. And you can see the little tiny dots are baby caterpillars. And then over here, oh look, there's one you can see. This is a spice bush cutting. And you can see on the bottom of that leaf, it's a teeny tiny baby. You see how light it is? So this is definitely a spicebush caterpillar. And so, because it's lighter. And that's everyone in this enclosure for the moment. Now that I have this all set up, I do intend to go do a hunt for eggs. But I do have quite a few. I want to get some more giants because I've only got 2 maybe of them. And I'd like to get some more monarchs. And on the other side are all of my potted plants, different varieties of host plants. There's a frog fruit. That'll work for the peacock caterpillars as well as the water hyssop. I've got milkweed, tropical milkweed in here in the enclosure. No butterfly's gonna land on it and get OE on it. And, or not a lot of butterflies. Occasionally a butterfly comes in here. And it's not gonna be able to spread seeds everywhere. And then my wild limes I can use for cuttings. I've got a sassafras in here for the spice bush. Swallowtails, I've ordered some spice bush that I'm gonna pot and keep in here. And then here's some plants for the eastern black swallowtails, parsley and fennel. And then in the corner is my, oh gosh, is it the pineland or the white flowered? It's one of those. Oh my gosh, why can't I keep that straight? Anyway, it's beautiful. It's just growing up everywhere. I love it. It wouldn't surprise me. Oh my gosh, look, there's a Gulf fritillate. Do you see it? It must have just declosed. Its little chrysalis has been up here. Okay, so here we're back in the monarch enclosure, and you can see the caterpillar's gone, and his little molted exoskeleton is there. And there it is right there, drying off. How cute. Look at this little curly antenna. Oh my goodness. Okay, baby, I'll leave you alone. So hopefully that is going to be a good situation. I think I'm going to like it, and keep watching and we'll find out.